Hey guys, Andy back here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you yet another painting tutorial. This tutorial is going to be on this fine miniature right here. It is Orktober after all. The whole painting community is going crazy painting orcs, so I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon and do this guy for you. I decided to do the named character version of it. That's the Mozrog miniature on his very cool Squigosaurus. Extra points for the name, Squigosaurus, pretty cool. Obviously this model can seem like a daunting miniature to paint due to the white skin. People have an aversion to painting white miniatures. So I'm going to show you, like in most of my videos, using some contrast and some dry brushes, how to get this guy done to a fantastic tabletop standard, minimum effort, only a couple of paints, and not as much time as you would think. So you will be able to move on to your next project quite quickly. Stick around to the end and I'll show you some close-ups and stuff like that. And yeah, enjoy the video. Okay guys, so this is the starting point for the miniature. I have gotten the basing of it out of the way. Had a little bit of time yesterday, so I got that out of the way because I'm not going to be showing that in this video. If you are curious on how I did base this miniature, I'll leave a link up here now and it will lead you to a basic video where I showed off how this was done. So now we move on to the actual painting of the squig. So we're going to start with Apothecary White contrast, and we're going to go for an all-over coat across the skin of the squig. We're just trying to shift the tone of the skin from that like cold grey tone to more like a skin tone with a bit of life or a bit of light in it. So it's going to be one quick coat of Apothecary White all over the skin of the squig. Shouldn't take too long. Just get a nice coat in. You can see the difference here in the colour from the guy on top and the mount. It's already shifting a little bit. Now it's time to use Volupus Pink, and we're going to add this into any creases in the skin, any scars and any folds. We're going to put Volupus Pink in. This is once again just going to add a little bit of life to the skin. As you can see, this is quite a stark colour. It stands out on the white quite harshly, but we're going to fix that in a second with another coat of Apothecary White. So I'm going to go through and around all of the gums, in all those like little creases on his face, in his nostrils, and all those little indents. We're just going to throw a bit of Volupus Pink in there. So this is all the areas that I put the Volupus Pink in. So anywhere that looks like it had a crease, or any of the sores where the metal components hit skin, around all of his gums and stuff like that. I know it looks a bit harsh, so we're going to knock that back down again with another coat of Apothecary White all over the skin. This includes all the pink parts. We're not trying to avoid them, we're trying to cover them again. This will be a soft effect, but it'll just, like I said, knock that purple back down, or pink back down. And this is what it looks like. We're now going to, while that second coat of Apothecary White's drying, we're going to work on the rider, and we're going to put Plaguebearer Flesh all over the orc's skin. This is a quick and dirty coat. He's actually half mechanical parts, so the whole left half or right half of his body is going to be all mechanical, so there isn't actually that much skin to paint. Just take your time and get into all the nooks and crannies and find out all the different parts that are skin. Okay, skin is now dry. Now we're going to go back to working on the Squigosaurus' skin. We're going to jump up to an Ulthuan Grey, and we are going to dry brush this all over the Squigosaurus' skin. I say Squigosaurus a lot because I enjoy saying it. Squigosaurus. It's a very cool name. As you can see, I'm just going in an up and down motion, trying to follow the like sharp lines of the miniature. I'm just trying to catch all those raised areas. So you can see his face is starting to get a bit more definition. That side has nothing on it. And this side you can start to see around his eyes and cheeks and stuff. So I'm just going to go back and forth all over the parts until I'm happy with this. And then we'll jump up to the next colour. This is that first all over dry brush. Now we go straight up to Corax White, and we're going to do the same thing again. This time a little bit lighter, but overall the same technique. We're going to be dry brushing the skin, catching the very edges of all that detail on his skin. You can see that all of the Volupus Pink I put on in that stage 2 stages ago, it's not nearly as harsh, it's not nearly as pronounced, it's not taking over the look of the miniature. It's just all a subtle effect into all the cracks and recesses, especially around where the mechanical leg there meets the body. You can see it looking all pink and sore. and I'm quite happy with how that skin looks. Now it's time to move along and try and break up more of that white. The white's not looking quite right now, and that's just because there's so much white on the miniature. So we're going to go around and start finishing off all the base coats and all the different parts. So we're going to start with Tallarn Sand. And this is for the claws on one of his feet, because the other one's mechanical, and all of his teeth. So as soon as the teeth are starting to be blocked in, it really does change the dynamic of the miniature. It doesn't look like there's too much white after that. So you just want to take your time, try your very best not to hit any of that white skin, and start the base coat with Tallarn Sand. There we have it. I don't know whether I mentioned before, but I actually put Volupus Pink inside of his mouth as well. The tongue is covered in it, the inside of his mouth, the roof of his mouth, all of it. Volupus Pink, so it's all pink in there. Then next we're jumping up to the Gore-Grunta Fur, and this is for all of the leather on the miniature. So the pants that the orc is wearing, and the strap that runs around the body of the Squigosaur that holds the saddle on. So we're going to also do that in the Gore-Grunta Fur colour. There's also the straps that hold on his, I would say his lightning claw, but I don't think there's any power actually running through it. It's just a vicious looking claw. Super cool though, so I'll be back now when this is all done. So there we have all the parts that need to be Gore-Grunta Fur blocked in. Quick coat of black Templar, and that's just for the black military boots on the orc. Nice thick coat. Make sure you get good coverage and just get the boots. It's the only part of the miniature we're going to use this colour on is the boots. And with the black boots blocked out, we're now going to move over to Leadbelcher, and we're going to use this as a base coat for all of the metallic parts. And just like all of these orcs in the series, on the Kruleboy series, this is always the slowest part of base coating your miniature, is the metallics, because you can't hit any other part as you go along. And there's quite a bit of it mixed in with all of the other textures on the miniature. So you just got to take your time, set aside half an hour for this, and just get in there with a small brush and get every little part of it base coated with Leadbelcher. When you do, it will look something like this. You can see quite the amount of it that there is. We're going to break up the amount of metallics now with Balthasar Gold. And we're going to add this to some of the metallic parts on the miniature. This is your discretion, whatever parts you would like to do. As you can see, I've left the panels that cover up the leg white. They're going to get into Balthasar Gold. The pipes on the exhausts on the side are going to be like that. Some of the like rivets and bits and pieces that run up the leg are also going to get the Balthasar Gold. And this is where we're at with all of the base coats finished on the miniature. It's now time to wash the parts that need to be washed. The wash we're going to jump over to for this is my good old faithful Seraphim Sepia. We are not going to touch off the skin of the Squigosaur with this shade, but we will hit every single other thing that we've base coated. So all the metallics, the orc skin, all of the leather, and all of the inside of the mouth. So make sure you get a rough old brush for that, because you're going to be pushing it past all the teeth and trying to get the roof of his mouth and the tongue and all those bits and pieces done with the Seraphim Sepia. That's my most satisfying time painting, is applying the shade and just seeing all those different details come to life and get pulled apart. Like how much better that leg looks already. It always feels like I'm actually finally getting somewhere with the paint job. There's so much definition in orc skin that when a wash touches it, it's fantastic. And this is the model after all of those shade has dried. And it's time to spend a little bit of time layering up some of the parts again. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump back to Leadbelcher. And we're going to go for a small dry brush and just do that up and down all the metallic parts and all of the gold parts, just to catch the edges of those parts again, and brighten them up a bit, bring them back to life. Sorry, the camera does not know how to focus on a hand that's doing the dry brushing motion. But there's the difference. There's a leg that I would consider to be complete paint job. I'm delighted with that. I'm going to do the same to the exhaust pipes and stuff, his arms, his back, all of the different metallic parts across the miniature. Now we're going to move over to Ushabti Bone, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to use a small dry brush. This time it's for the all of the leather parts on the miniature. So just take your time. All of the saddle, all the black boots, that's also going to get a touch of the Ushabti Bone dry brush, and the strap that runs around the Squigosaur's body. And I do a touch on the skin as well, but I'm going to go back and layer up the skin myself. This is obviously a character model, it's a nice centerpiece, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the skin and just bring it up a tiny bit. Look at the difference that dry brush has done to the orc leg there, including the boots. It's insane. Almost there now. Like I was saying, I'm going to pull that skin back up a little bit brighter. I'm going to use a Legion Green for this. And all I'm aiming for is the tops of all the muscles and any of the raised features of his face, top of his head, his neck, those big monster traps. The guy doesn't skip the gym. And as you can see, even from this little tiny bit here, you can see the difference it makes in the colour of the orc. The trick is not to fill in all of those deep recesses that have already been shaded. Have that contrast sitting in it. I want to leave that definition well enough alone. Move into the face now, using the very tip of your brush and just catching all the raised bits of the brows, tips of the ear, cheeks, lips, the little snout. But it will make all the difference to the miniature. Now it's time to work on those gums and the inside of his mouth. So we're going to go for Pink Horror. And like I said, I did put Volupus Pink on the inside of his mouth and his tongue, and that was shaded down. It's just really hard to show you guys on camera this process because it's inside a dark cavernous mouth. But I promise you a bit of Pink Horror just to catch the tips of his tongue. You don't have to go into the back of his mouth or the roof of his mouth with this. This is just the bits that are going to be protruding, the bits that may see the light of day. So it's really just the front of his tongue. This is a slightly better angle for seeing what I'm doing here. This is the bit where I'm laying around the back of his teeth, where the gums come up and meet the teeth. It's basically parts that people are going to see. Put that little bit of extra effort in. Now it's time to layer up those teeth and the claws on his one natural foot. So we're back to Ushabti Bone for this. And we're going to take our time. Sorry for it focusing on my hand. But we're going to leave that darker brown and wash thing, basically where the teeth meets the skin, nice and dark. And we're just going to pull down towards the tip. And that's where the Ushabti Bone is going to go. This really helps to kind of make the model. It's a real focal point. It's all those gnarly teeth. So, yeah, love this part. Quick dot of Mephiston Red. And this is for his little beady eyes. So, tip of a sharp brush. Just get in there and paint in the eyes. It's the bit where you're going to be a little bit more careful. Red will, of course, stain white quite badly, and it'll be quite hard to fix that. So this is the bit where you want to take a deep breath. Make sure your hands are nice and steady. And go in. We're also going to use the red on the eyes of the orc, including his bionic eye. Give him a Terminator-style feel to him. And this is the finished result. This is my finished Squigosaur miniature, ready to be put on the tabletop and played with. I really hope you guys liked the video. If you did and enjoyed what you've seen, please think about subscribing to the channel. Give the video a like. And yeah, ask me any questions you have down in the comments below. I will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And yeah, stay tuned for more cool videos. And remember, the plan is simple. We paint them all.